All About the Archers. I'm Philippa.
I'm Quentin.
And we will be talking to you all about what's happened so far this week. We will be covering episodes on Sunday the 11th of August, Monday the 12th, and Tuesday the 13th of August. There will be spoilers. You have been warned. So, Quentin, what did you think about tonight's episode? What did you think about the week so far?
Really, I'm getting very frustrated because I'm just shouting at my radio saying, please, just get on with it. Just crack on with George crumbling and Emma in this terrible moral dilemma with Will and no doubt others in her family. So really, I'm very frustrated because I don't care a jot about garlic bulbs. I don't care a jot about the Flower and Produce show. I don't care a jot about stalls at the Summer Fete at this stage. I was slightly concerned about Amir, the horse. But really, come on, let's get on with the meat of this. The George story and trying, just getting himself and his family now in even deeper. So that's my takeaway of the last 3 days, Philippa. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been loving the manipulation this week of George trying to manipulate the truth, Linda trying to manipulate David and Ruth to have a stall, Kieran tonight, very weird, trying to manipulate the situation. I wasn't sure about that.
Nasty piece of work. Yeah.
All that happened in the Yurt tonight, I was guffawing. I mean, it was absolutely brilliant. And I'm not frustrated, unlike you, by the stringing out the story. I am loving it. I think it's wonderful.
I put a note here when she suggested tonight, how about a relaxation exercise? And I wrote a note at the time saying hypnotism would be better because she'd spill the beans. And then she suggested hypnotherapy. And Emma very quickly and smartly sort of declined that, and then realised she'd opened up a whole can of worms, and she'd suggested it for Alice, and Kate said, well, actually, it would be regression therapy, and she might remember memories of the crash, and he could see Emma thinking, no. So, I mean, that was good. That was great. But it was getting us back on track with the main story, so I was happy with that.
The Yurt of truth. I mean, it was all happening. When she offered Emma some wine as well, I was like, oh, Emma.
Yes. I thought,
this is
she's going to have a few glasses because she needs it.
But to begin with, I thought Emma knew what would happen with the regression therapy because she was encouraging Kate to do it for Alice. So I thought, oh my goodness, Emma, you really do want the truth to come out. But then when Kate mentioned, it'll help her remember, suddenly...
Well, it was tweaked. I think Emma didn't realise what it could lead to. She thought hypnotherapy, and then Kate tweaked and said, regression therapy. And that's something Emma hadn't even occurred to Emma, and now she's absolutely bricking it. So, because she, as we already know, Alice has got fragments of memory, hasn't she? So...
But it will Emma brick it, because Emma seems to be the voice of truth, the voice of reason, fighting against weird William, and George to have the truth out, wanting him to go to the police, wanting him to say the truth.
She wants it, but she's not actually facilitating it. She's still being a Grundy at heart, isn't she? And family loyalty is thicker than actually fessing up. But I mean, that leads into one of my predictions for the week, which we'll come to later. So,
yes. What do you think about William encouraging George? I mean, he was encouraging him not to tell the truth.
Well, I wondered which Will we'd see, because we've had, we all know Will of old. And in the last couple of years, it's been all sensitive, all understanding, all honest Will. And I thought, maybe the new Will persuade George to do the right thing. But oh no, old Will came through, and it's like we can't dob in our son. And you never know, it might work. It might work, he said. I mean, the fact is, George has now committed perverting the course of justice twice. And now he's implicated his family because they are effectively accomplices. So they could be done for perverting the course of justice because they're withholding crucial evidence. So it's an absolute mess. So I was it made me think that this all new sensitive will is really quite superficial. I think the real will came through again. I thought it was quite interesting.
Him referring to Nick's running over, well, not running, hurting Matt Crawford with the car, and the keeping of that secret. I mean, obviously any crime is a crime, and she admitted, but very different to this.
His justification was, well, nobody found out. What I won't bore our dear listeners with the fact that I've been in abject pain the last week because of an abscess, tooth abscess. So I wasn't fully focused on all the details. What was George how was he trying to frame Harry? Was he trying to suggest Harry was out on the bridge jogging? Is that right? Did I hear that right?
Well, originally he said, "Oh, what if I saw somebody else?"
Yes.
Well, who would you suggest? Oh, well, what about Harry? Well, why would he be there? Oh, was he jogging? You know, so he didn't come up with this whole bizarre story in one go. It's just desperate.
Yeah, but hold on.
But yeah, that's what he's saying.
Even if they managed to frame Harry, how does he explain that Alice is in the driving seat?
He would then perhaps say that Harry had pushed her over.
Right.
Harry, the well-known drinker of fruit cider. I don't know. It's making no sense to anyone.
Absolute bonkers. And anyway, so he's got his family in absolute. He's they're waist deep in this mire of perversion of the course of justice. So I can't wait for it to unravel. I'm very impatient. You just want it to go on for months and months. But there you go.
No. Let's also talk about something else we've been hearing this week. Alice, what's been happening with Alice?
Yes.
She's returned back to work. She's diagnosing, she's the horse whisperer, diagnosing poor Amir. And she wants to present a video marketing the stables. We've had Justin being quite cross. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's going to be awkward, isn't it, if George is around making promotional videos. I thought that was delicious thought. So that is going to be they're going to be fun scenes. I'm sure they'll drag this out so that we do have George making promotional videos. She's back on a phased return, as they call it, and assigned to yard duties. We don't need two managers, said Justin. I mean, I'm torn between Justin because I think in some ways he's got a point. That it is a big risk, reputation at least, to bring back Alice before the court case. And he really is out to get to leave the stables. It's quite clear. And Lillian is fighting a magnificent rearguard action, protecting her niece and all that. But I think yes, Carlotta comes into the mix here as well. So I think this colic story is going to come back and bite various characters later on and be used by either Justin or Lillian for their intentions. But I don't know. Should Alice be back? She almost thinks she should. She has this sort of slightly arrogant assumption. I'm just going to walk in. I
do think a video of her promoting the stables could go viral in the wrong way.
Yes.
So I do see that side of Justin.
I
don't like how Justin is acting like he's the majority shareholder in the business, where I think himself, Lillian and Shula have equal thirds. So I didn't like that. However, what if we had heard Alice drinking and deliberately then taking off and driving and causing the accident? And that is what Justin thinks happened. If we had heard that, would we be as aggrieved with Justin as we are? Because in our minds, if we'd heard her drive, cause the accident, we would be thinking she's going to jail.
Well, I'm not as aggrieved.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, I'm not as aggrieved about Justin.
A lot of us are. Justin is treating her badly, but that's because I think we know that she was innocent.
But he's making, as you say, his judgments on what he knows. So
exactly,
yeah,
and
I
that's
think
what's so good about this script.
Yeah, and Lillian is just blinded by family loyalty when he's actually making some quite important commercial and reputational points. So I mean, he's obnoxious, Justin. I mean, I don't like him, but his one of my faves was his delight in seeing that Amir had dumped a large dump of manure in the yard, and I thought, well, it takes one sh.t to spot another sh.t. There you are. Yes.
Very good. Any other faves or flops? Because we're already 10 minutes in.
Are we?
What faves? Any other faves very quickly?
Self-pity Paul tonight. Oh, everyone thinks it's okay to walk over me. Oh, get over yourself. So a fave also tonight from Kate. It's Roy I'm missing more than anyone else at the moment. I thought was very touching and dovetails into last week's, some would say, sentimental scene between Kirsty and Kate reminiscing about Roy, but they dropped in that lovely line that he was at the centre of the village and he was a good actor and a good man, and I thought that was a nice... They really are sending him on his way very nicely, aren't they? I'm not very good with the general public from Azra, Dr. Malak, although that was hilarious as a GP. It's more transactional as a GP, she said.
I understand that.
Yeah, but I thought it was quite a funny line. David and Ruth eating breakfast on Sunday. You cannot have people eating...
Second breakfast! Hobbits! I wasn't the only one to think that. Rob saw that. Rob said that as well.
But it's the eating and talking at the same time. Wasn't too bad, but let's avoid that, please. Let's avoid that.
While you raise the subject of food, Q, let me just carry on that.
So we had second breakfast. This is a waste of time.
Yeah, don't worry,
Let's talk
I'll be
about something.
quick.
All right,
Second breakfast, garlic bread, family meals on a budget, tasty low-cost desserts, baked rice pudding, French toast, mashed aubergine, cauliflower peas rice, chapati's takeaway. Those were the ones. A fave of mine was a cure for constipation that I wasn't aware of. Just spend 20 minutes going around Ambridge in a horse box. Who knew that could cure constipation? I didn't know that colic could kill horses. I discovered that today in my research. So well done, Alice, from saving that. A flop for me is this allotment. Why does Linda have an allotment? She has a huge garden already at Ambridge Hall. I don't understand why she has an allotment, and I don't understand why Azra has kept this
and as you say,
allotment going.
Allotments are at a premium. People are queuing around the block for them. So you're right. Linda should release her allotment. Got to give a mention to the Radio 4 feedback programme last week, which is dedicated entirely to the Archers. Did you listen, Philip?
Yes, it was very interesting.
Some fascinating things came out of it. Apart from the host, Andrea Catherwood being a big fan of the Archers. Feedback receives more correspondence about the Archers than any other programme, which I found hilarious. In its heyday, it started in 1950, it had 20 million listeners. 20 million listeners, can you believe it? Before the plurality of podcasts and radio stations. And who knew that George, the actor who plays George, Angus Stobie, is Scottish?
Scottish, yeah.
Not a trace in his accent. So that was really interesting. I would recommend you listen to that on BBC Sounds.
Very good. Now, just a little quick extra section for our YouTube people. Just give me the benefit of the doubt. I've been having a little think today about the Olympics, because we've come to the end of the Olympics. And I was thinking, who would enter for what in Ambridge? If you don't mind me just quickly doing this. Obviously, it won't make the audio version, but for the extended YouTube, here we go. I was thinking Alice would do equestrian. George would do diving, because he's proved he's quite good diving for people in the river. Eddie would do fencing, because he's good at fencing stolen items. Brian would do shooting. Lee karate. Denise swimming. Clary weightlifting, because she's carrying the weight of everybody. Rex canoe sprint, because of his water boat. Justin golf. Leonard table tennis. And I thought Joy would do break dancing in honour of Australia's fabulous entry. So those are just my thoughts. Anybody else that you would enter in the Olympics, Q?
Oh, God, you've had all week to think about this. I can't.
No, literally.
Really?
I had a few minutes earlier on. I was like, let's think.
Who'd be in the marathon? Who's dragged stuff out forever? Alice, I think, we're in the marathon. Now, alcoholism has gone on for years. So she's out of equestrian and she's now in the marathon.
Perfect. Very good. Let's get on to Star of the Week. Who is your Star of the Week, Q?
I've got Stars of the Week.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only one nomination. And they are Felpersham CID for not believing George's cock and bull story about Harry being a mystery person at the scene of the crash.
Yes, that was one of mine.
Really? Oh,
I've also got Amir for having Alistair remove the impacted food from a particular area. I felt very sorry for Amir with that. And Emma, she's stressed, but she's focused on getting the truth out one way or another. Predictions. Any predictions, Q?
I'm going to have two, if you don't mind. I've sort of alluded it already. I think this colic story is going to come up again, and Lillian might use it to stitch up Carlotta, to get rid of Carlotta, so that Alice is needed again as manager.
Well, Carlotta didn't spot it, so
wasn't it spotted,
you're
Carlotta?
right.
That's your job.
Very good.
To be fair, I did see that. I just spotted that on one of the platforms, but I thought, that's interesting. Right. My main one, though, is that Emma will either blab to Ed or Neil. She can't keep it in anymore. And either Ed or Neil, particularly Neil, will insist that George admits everything to the police, because Neil thinks his grandsons are wrong in any way. And Neil is absolutely straight as a die, isn't he? He's such an honest man. And he'll say, you must do the right thing. So I think she is going to blab, and it'll be to Ed and or Neil. I hope it's Neil, because Neil will sort this out, because I do like our Neil.
Well, my two predictions. The first one is that George will film Alice at the stables. Alice will have a flashback of the car accident, and it'll all be caught on camera. And my other one is that Azra has a stall at the Fete selling her frozen leftovers, because she's obviously very skilled and a fully stocked freezer. But there we go. Should say, you mentioned social media. We are on Threads and Blue Sky and TikTok and Instagram and the Awful X as well. So do follow us all there, and the wonderful Facebook group. You'd be very welcome to join us. If you haven't heard it already, there's the interview with David Archer, Tim Bentinck, who plays David Archer, to listen to. On Saturday, there will be a bonus episode with Adam Macy, with Andrew, who plays Adam. And next Tuesday, I'll be on with Lauren. So it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a bye-bye from me.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.